Peace, love, and abundance of all things good to you, amazing, beautiful people. It is your girl V back with another episode of the Voiced by V podcast. We made it. We made it to episode 5. And honestly, it has been quite the adjustment for me in terms of scheduling, in terms of everything, because as you should know by now, I am building my business so God can bless it. And I'm doing that alongside working a full time job, along with keeping up with my fitness routine, along with keeping up with my meal plans and all things health and wellness for me, making sure that I am balanced physically, financially, mentally, spiritually, keeping up with my practices. It's a lot, but I'm getting stronger and I'm getting more organized. And so balancing this new venture, well, it's not new, but renewing this venture into my lifestyle is quite the adjustment. So I'm gonna clap it up for me. I'm gonna clap it up for me because I'm really showing up, and I thank you because I wouldn't have anyone to show up to if you weren't showing up for yourself. So shout out to you. Shout out to you for being here. Shout out to you for tuning in. Shout out to you for supporting me because the feedback from the last few episodes have been amazing thus far this season, and I'm just so grateful to have a solid community and solid supporters who tune in to, what I have to say, who give me y'all feedback. And, I wouldn't be here without y'all. So, I'm celebrating all of us. Okay. So shout out to you. Happy Friday. I hope that it has been a fulfilling day for you, that you feel blessed, abundant, that you've been being patient and taking it easy on yourself, that you've been compassionate with yourself, that you've been patient with yourself, that you've been kind to yourself because the world outside is already rude enough to us, like so cruel to us, and it's a lot to juggle and balance taking care of yourself as well as taking care of your loved ones in whatever way that in whatever way that shows up for you. There could be so many different responsibilities and so many things that we're tasked with in this human venture, and to stay sane through it all, to look good through it all, to feel joyful in it all, to stay balanced in it all. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so you don't need to add to that stress by beating yourself up on top of everything else that is naturally piled onto you. Like you don't need to be your own enemy. You have enough things going against you naturally. So I just want to remind you first and foremost and affirm that you have been kind to yourself. However you've been showing up, you've been doing it. Honestly, if you got up today and you took a shower today, kudos to you. If you drank some water today, kudos to you. If you ate some fruits today, kudos to you. If you did something positive for yourself, kudos to you. Um, I got to work today and I was looking through my bag and I was like, oh my gosh, I went to because I went to the gym last night. My headphones were in my gym bag as opposed to my work bag initially. And so I got to work and I was like, oh my gosh, like I hope that I put my headphones back in my work bag. And I went in my work bag and I found my headphones and I was like, look at you constantly doing things that your future self is going to thank you for. Like I wasn't even conscious or, cognizant of the fact that I put my headphones in the place where I was going to need it the next day. I had totally forgot that detail. And when I got to that moment, I'm like, I hope I did that because I don't remember doing it. So if you can show up for yourself in that way, kudos to you. Kudos to you, doing the dishes the night before because it's going to be a full tiring ass day tomorrow. Do the things that your future self is going to help you thank you for, okay? In whatever capacity, and just do what you can. You're not going to be able to get it all done every single day. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to make it to the gym every day. You're not going to eat super clean every day. You're not going wash the dishes and clean your space every day. Like, again, the demand is not humanly possible. The demand of like building financial freedom for ourselves, breaking these generational curses, building this generational wealth. Hey, baby. Um, and doing all the things again to stay balanced and sane and healthy and happy while still showing up for our communities and our loved ones, it's almost humanly impossible. But that's why you are a spiritual being living this human experience, and you're not, like stuck in the confines of only having this human experience or only being a human. You can tap into your superhuman abilities, which are those abilities that allow you to recognize and remember the divinity that you are and how powerful that you are, and the fact that you have choice in this matter, and the fact that you are co-creating this experience. Okay, so you are powerful and you have power. So continue to tap into that. Okay, enough of that. On the heels of what I just described, the world is tough enough. It's tough enough trying to break through these these walls of like, yo, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Today at work, I had multiple conversations about modern day slavery. And the way I describe myself right now is someone who is, I'm just such a rebel against the system. Okay, I am such a rebel. This is why I need to be in business for myself. And this is why I'm going hard to maintain the balance of, okay, I got to tap in right now to make a little money, get a consistent paycheck so I could be, we talked about that, but also like not be complacent over there because this is temporary. That part is temporary because I need to be able, I can't be told what to do. Okay. I don't like subscribing to things that are inhumane. I don't like subscribing my energy, my time, and my attention to being overworked and underpaid. Okay. And just having these structures that are in nature capitalistic, not driven from the heart, don't really care about the well-being of humanity. Like, and most corporations, most institutions and corporations, specifically in America, because that's where I'm at, right? Um, like like are birthed from those concepts. And those concepts bleed through every inch of the business model. And so you can like the people that you work with, right? You can have conversations, whatever, but it's like the bottom line is the bottom line. And the goal is always to meet the bottom line. And if you don't, every boss has a boss. And it's just this ugly structure that I personally, I'm such a rebel against it. I hate that I I I I grapple with the fact that I'm involved. So it's like I go to work every day and I'm consciously involved and I'm aware of my involvement and willingness to participate, but I'm not actually willing to participate. So my attitude be peeking through and I be having shit to say and I be rebelling and I be like, no, I'm not telling you this, or no, you know what I mean? Like I'm fiery. So damn, why did I say that? Why did I say that? Um, Maybe because it's just present, right? It's just present. I had multiple conversations about breaking through the barriers of these modern day slavery. Modern day slavery. Like, can we make slavery illegal? Like for real? This time, like for real? Like for real? Is that cool? Um, I know. I know. How we got there. Self-sabotage. Um so okay, I went off on a little bit of a tangent. So let's really back in. Okay, so let's just get right into it. Because today I want to talk about self-sabotage, being able to identify it, and also things that we can do to overcome it. And the reason why I want to talk about self sabotage is because I believe that it is something that we all go through. It's something that we just, it's in human nature to, it's fucked up. It's really fucked up when I think about it to say, oh, this is so normal. But it is. And I think it's normal because many times we ask for things that we're not ready for. And when it comes into our awareness, when it comes into our atmosphere, when it comes into our energetic fields, and we're not ready for it, it's like we have to do something to be able not to receive it because we're not ready. You know, it's like, it's kind of like getting a harsh message or getting a dose of reality or getting a harsh truth that you're not ready for. You're going to close your ears. You're going to turn around. You're going to leave the room. You're going to yell so you can block it out, right? We see this on an everyday basis. So I think it's important to address self sabotage and yes, understand that it's normal, but it is not healthy. And if we are simply not ready to receive something that we are asking for, we should do one of two things. That is, stop asking for it, or two, get ready for it. And I think this is a harsh reality and a harsh truth that most humans, again, are not ready to hear. Because you're asking for more money, but you have poor money management. You're asking for that delicious relationship with that person who's going to take care of you and is coming all healthy and healed, but you're not even a reflection of the shit that you're asking for. You're asking for a bigger house, bigger condo, better car, but you don't even take care of the house and the home and the apartment and the car that you do have. You feel me? So, how many of us are being that honest with ourselves to say, I'm asking for this, but I'm simply not ready for it, and that is why it's not coming. And if it does come, if I do see that I have access to it, I'm not going to go over there. I'm going to do everything that I need to do to make sure that this transaction does not happen because I'm not ready for it. And I think it would be so much easier if we would just, or and more truthful, more honest, if we would just say, you know what, I'm not ready for it. But guess what? Nothing that is for me misses me. It is never too late. It is never too early. Everything is on time. I am always on time. God is always on time. So if not right now, that means it's just not the time. And I clearly still have to keep working. I got to keep grinding. I got to keep praying. This is not the season for that. But you know what it is the season for? To nourish and to be a good steward of what I have right now. So sometimes we just got to keep building and be okay with, be content with, be satisfied with what we have now and master taking care of that before we start asking more. Now, asking is simply in our nature. We may be asking for bigger, better things because we know we deserve it. It's our birthright. We may be asking for more of a certain thing because it's going to make our life easier. It's going to contribute to a healthier, happier, more wholesome lifestyle. Maybe we're asking for a better job and with better pay that's closer to our home because it's going to contribute to better lifestyle, a better quality of life. Like these things are valid to ask for, but we also have to be realistic with the part that we are playing in not being able to receive it. Okay. So we're going to start there with being able to identify what self sabotage looks like. Okay. What does it look like? Oftentimes, self sabotage simply looks like asking for things that we are not ready for. Another way it can show up in our lives is that we realize that we are running from experiences due to the trauma and the hurt and the pain from past experiences. So it's like we're asking for something, God, source energy, the universe, whatever name you have for who you are co-create, who or what you're co-creating with in this experience, sends it to you. And then you like, nah, like at the first sign of inconvenience, okay? At the first sign of inconvenience, you're like, nah, I'm booking it, right? Because I'm worth more than that. And I can't, you know what I mean? And I do want to add, nourishing our spirit of discernment is very important because sometimes we're running because this is actually a potentially dangerous situation for us. Maybe we're running because we know that this is not for us. Maybe we're running because this is actually not for us. This is wolf in sheep's clothing type of energy. Maybe we're running because this thing is not really for us, right? But discernment coupled with prayer, coupled with having faith and knowing that we are worthy of a divine, full, wholesome, healthy experience will give us the result of knowing if we are running simply because we don't feel worthy, simply because we are hurt from the last time we were put in a similar situation. Okay, so I'll give this a bit of context. I have a homegirl that well shit, it was me too at one point, but it's just a relatable scenario. Oftentimes this shows up in new relationships and interactions that we get into, right? Exploring our ability to be in partnership and to be intimate with another human being is one of the most vulnerable things that we can do. Especially because oftentimes we've been so hurt by people that we went all in with, that maybe some people had kids with, maybe you let them into your home, you let them into your vessel, right? You shared sacred space with them. Um and some way, somehow, something didn't work out, right? And now you're left with the pieces of a partnership, a relationship that just it didn't work out. It dissolved itself. Whoever's at fault is at fault. And you like, damn, that shit hurt. That shit hurt so much that I really don't want to experience that again. That shit hurt so much that even if I have the slightest inkling that it's about to happen, that is the reddest red flag. And I'm saying, hell no. And I'm turning the fuck around, right? Abort mission. It hurts so bad that we actually have to empower ourselves to trust not only others again, but trust ourselves. Because it's like, how did I put myself in that predicament? How did I get to the point where I laid down with a person who was going to cheat on me, who was going to hurt me, who was going to deceive me, who was a liar, we start listing off all the so-called bad shit that this person did, right? How can I even trust myself after that? Right? Like, how did I put myself in position to share space with this person, to be vulnerable with somebody like this? And so we get to a point, a very dangerous point, because that is one of the most dangerous things that we can experience as a human, to not be able to trust. And the super reality is that relationships these days are not non-existent in the capacity in which I feel like they should be for humanity to continue to grow and evolve and expand and be happy and wholesome and continue to co-create and just be in love, because too many people don't trust. Okay? Too many people don't trust. There has been so much pain, so much despair, so much, I don't like, it's almost like pure evil, but like so much ignorance, so much deceit, that it's like I would be stupid, right? I'd almost be stupid if I trusted someone. I'd be stupid if I wasn't looking over my shoulder. I'd be stupid if I wasn't cautious. I'd be stupid if I trusted myself. That's what it turns into. Because the reality is, okay, let's talk about it. There's no separation. See, the higher you vibrate, and when you begin to operate from your higher faculties, your higher chakras, the throat, the third eye chakra, the crown chakra, you start to operate and see the oneness that we all are. Okay? The oneness of the one consciousness that is source energy. Source, we are all source energy, and also all working with source energy, expressing itself in an infinite amount of ways. And so being in relation with another human being, with another sentient being, is being in relation with yourself from a different perspective. And when we begin to see relationships this way, we can remove our ego and say, I'm with this person, but they didn't break my heart. They simply made me aware of another version of myself, of another perspective of myself. And I am grateful for that. I am thankful to have learned something about myself. So let's get back to how we self sabotage, because again, we're in a situation, we trusted, we went all in, we were super intimate and super vulnerable with somebody. And on the other side of that, not placing blame, on the other side of that relationship that dissolved, we may feel betrayed, we feel disappointed, we feel hurt. And the reality is, the simple reality is, it is very hard to trust again. It can be difficult, if not done intentionally, to love again. It can be very difficult to put yourself in a position where you are choosing to be vulnerable again. But the super reality is that, baby, there's always going to be risk. Okay, waking up today was a risk. Going outside and crossing the street today was a risk. Driving your vehicle today was a risk. Okay, turning on your phone, your electronic device was a risk. Okay, cooking them eggs on the stove today was a risk. Everything has a percentage of risk. Everything. And the risk fluctuates, right? Get ready for this. The risk fluctuates depending on the frequency that you are operating from. The more love that you are operating from, the more trust that you are operating from, the more joy that you are operating from, the more confidence that you are operating from, okay? That is what's going to show itself back to you. That is going to be the true expression of the relationships that you encounter, that you get to engage in. That's the cheat code. It's you, it's all you. It's all you. And you get to a point of peace when you are in relation with someone. You're operating at a pure level. Pure meaning all love, all joy, all trust, Not in them, but yourself. Not in them, but in source, the source within you. Okay? You know that you're operating with a clean heart. You know your intentions are great. You know your intentions are wholesome. You know your intentions. You know what you want. You know who you are. You get to a point where there is nothing that that person can do to make you not trust yourself, to make you not love yourself, to make you not feel joy for yourself, to not make you feel whole in yourself. Because no matter who or what, who the person is and what the relationship is, none of that, I don't care how deeply y'all grow together, none of that, that person's behavior is contingent upon you. None of that person behavior defines you. So you have to be so solid in yourself and always come back to yourself and say, listen, no matter what I experienced in the past, because I'm having trouble trusting this person because they are showing some similar characteristics that my ex showed. And although I understand that this person is not the same as that person, the behavior is the same, and I'm going to react the same way. Because the last time I saw this type of behavior, this is what happened. Now, it is a risk. You always run the risk of being right about that. You run the risk of being right. Maybe that second nigga is a cheater. Maybe that second nigga, maybe he a liar. Maybe he whatever it is. And I'm using this because this is real examples. But at the same time, that him being a cheater, him being a liar, him being deceitful, him being not self-evolved enough or whatever, it still has nothing to do with you. So you're never going to lose, even if this new relationship doesn't work out, it dissolves itself, y'all choose to go separate ways. This does not define you. And you don't have to become super that attached to where this relationship defines you, or you allow it to make you feel like a failure, or you pat yourself on the back and say, shit, bitch, I told you so. I told you so. I told you he was just like, I told you they all the same. I told you he was just like that last nigga. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't have to do that. You can choose differently. Okay? And so, how do you not run from new experiences due to the trauma of old experiences? You give it a new narrative. You take the new narrative with you. The old narrative is what happened in the old relationship. But one of the greatest things that you can do when a relationship dissolves itself is to assess what you're going to take with you and leave everything else behind. Leave all of the shit that didn't feel good. Leave all of the shit that did not work. Leave all of the shit that made you feel pain. Leave it behind. You can take the wisdom from it. But the insecurity that you displayed, the arguing in the back and forth that you displayed, the bullshit that you had to go through and fight back and forth with this person, all of that negative, petty, immature behavior, you can leave the behavior, but you can take the wisdom with you. The wisdom looks like calling a spade a spade. The wisdom looks like being a better judge of character. The wisdom looks like being more discerning. The wisdom looks like knowing your boundaries, knowing your desires, and actively, clearly communicating that with these new people, right? With this new friend, with this new business partner, with this new intimate partner. That's what it looks like. That's your job. That's what it looks like to take the wisdom with you. But you can leave the behavior where the fuck it was at. Because honestly, you don't have to act out. You don't have to act it out. When you're really embodied, when you've really learned the lesson, you don't have to act out the same insecure characteristics. You just don't. Okay? But your job, again, is to assess, okay, From that relationship, yeah, we could place blame all day, but that's not going to do me no good. So I'm going to take responsibility for what I did or did not do in this in that past experience, okay? And I'm going to assess this thing. I'm going to assess this list and say, what could I have done differently? And what am I committing to do differently? Whether it's with this current person or the next or in any relationship. How am I going to decide? How am I deciding to move differently so that I can experience a healthier, more wholesome relationship with another person and with myself and with source energy? Because that's what really matters. That's going to be the core. That's going to be the foundation of everything that you do and build in your life. So that's where it starts. Understanding that this is self sabotage. And it's so important to name it. It's so important to name it because guess what? Now, once you name it and you realize, oh shit, I'm self sabotaging again, right? I'm self destructing because I am not ready for this thing. And then you can say, but okay, so what am I gonna do? Am I gonna get ready for it? Or am I not ready to get ready? Sometimes you're not ready to get ready. And you just have to admit to yourself that I'm not ready for this $1,000,000. Ooh. Because if you don't know what you're gonna do with it, why the fuck you want it? Sometimes you gotta admit to yourself that I don't even want a relationship. There's so many things that I have to do. There's so many ventures that I want to practice. There's just so much. There's just so much I want to fulfill for myself. There's so much on my plate. There's so much. I'm called to do so much. And I feel like a relationship or a partnership is going to be a distraction. I feel like I'm not going to have time to indulge and be laid up with a motherfucker. Sometimes you gotta admit to yourself, I'm not ready to get ready. And so remember option number two, stop asking and ask for something different. Ask for it, ask for what you want. Maybe you just want community. Maybe instead of that $1,000,000 that you don't, maybe you just want uh maybe you just want to find an affordable place to live that you can call your own and it's nice and quaint and cute and maybe you just want that. Right? So do you see how this is intertwining? The things that we're asking for, not being able to receive it, and self destructive behaviors that we do in order, self destructive behaviors we participate in because we are afraid to admit to ourselves that we don't actually want what it is that we're fucking asking for. Come on, somebody. Okay. So being able, again, to name your behaviors, to name that you're self sabotaging gives you the license to change your behavior and you have options. But it always begins with being honest with yourself. You got to ask yourself, am I receiving the thing that I'm asking for? Am I in the receptive mode? How about that? Am I in the tongue twister? Am I in the receptive mode? Period. And then it's like, okay, do I actually want what it is that I'm asking for? Yes, no? Okay, well, what do I want? What do I actually want? Many times we're not receiving what we want. Many times we're not receiving what we say we want because we don't really want it. And what we're asking for is what we think we should want. Many of us are allowing society and tradition to tell us what we should want. You should want a big house. You should want a fast car. You should want a house on the beach. You should want $1,000,000 business. Maybe you just don't. You should want a monogamous relationship with a sexy partner and he got to look like this and he got to do this and she got to do this and she got to cook and she got to clean and I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying Be realistic with yourself. Want what you want. And you have to be so self aware that you can be honest with what you want, that you can be clear about what you want. And when you're honest and clear about the things that you want, you would be more able to be receptive for it, because now you see that it's possible for you and you feel worthy because it's something that you actually want. It's not rocket science. But a lot of the traction, that we have in terms of that we experience in terms of manifesting and receiving the things that we want and standing in our own way is due to not being honest enough with ourselves. Not being honest. That's it. It's just not being honest. And this is why truth is king, truth is God, truth is everything. Truth is everything. And it's not anyone else's truth. It's not the truth that you find in the textbooks. It's not the truth that they taught you about in school. It's not the truth that your mama tries to tell you. It's your own truth. And only you can come up with your own truth. Truth is, I don't want to get into that, but the truth for your life is concrete. I'll say that. The truth for your life is concrete. And you can decide what that truth is based on your personal beliefs, based on your personal desires, based on your personal calling. The truth is true for you. And if you allow other people's truths to determine your own truth, baby, you always gonna be confused. And you always gonna be asking for the wrong shit. And you always gonna be struggling with feeling fulfilled with the things that you get based on what you ask for, because you're not asking based on your own truth. So you really have to go through a process of solitude. You got to go through a process of cultivating like solid self-awareness, to where you just you create a practice of learning what you want and doing the self inventory that I talked about last episode. If you didn't tune into last week's episode, or Tuesday's episode rather, where I talked about doing a self inventory assessment, laying out all the things that you are currently doing, all the behaviors, exactly where you are in your life, then laying out exactly where you want to be, who you want to be, what you want to be experiencing, and finding a middle ground of what you need to be doing, the characteristics that you need to be embodying right now in order to get from where you are to where you want to be, who you are to who you want to be, what you're experiencing to what you desire to experience. Okay, so we've talked about self sabotage, how to identify it, some of the ways that it can show up in your life, and also the importance of naming it so that you can change those behaviors. Now, let's talk about how to overcome it. How do you actually get out of your own way? How do you actually stop yourself from sabotaging yourself? How do you actually overcome self destructive behaviors that are preventing you from experiencing the type of life that you said that you're asking for? So I'm gonna demonstrate this with an example. Um, because I think that the antidote is right in it happens in the moment. It's something that you have to create for yourself. It's like a game plan that you have to create for yourself when you identify that this is happening, because the reality is that it's a part of human nature. There has been a number done on us in terms of the programming and the indoctrination process, how much turmoil and things that how much trauma we continue to experience on a daily basis just in this world with current events, and just trying to break through the barriers and having to work for our money and all of these things, right? It's just like ugh, it's a lot. So there could be many ways that we subconsciously stand in our own way. um so it's going to happen. I say all of that to say it's gonna happen. um and it's not a matter of making it stop happen, and it's not a matter of completely dissolving it all together, and again, right, trying to go from zero to fully embodied. But it's a matter of developing, like I said, a game plan or some type of structure, some type of tool that you can use in the moment to dispel it. So I have a perfect example, right? One of my gifts, right, is speaking, writing. This often shows up in me having opportunities to speak at events, community events. I'm also a poet, a writer, so this can also, like, me demonstrating my art shows up in maybe performing an art piece or just, speaking in front of people. And although I am not one who's really all at any time in my life had a problem with public speaking, I actually really enjoy it. There are moments where I feel a crippling fear and anxiety when it comes to performing my art. Whether, again, that's just a speaking engagement, whether I am doing a workshop in front of students and clients, or whether I'm performing my art, my poetry, my writing. And have you ever I want to know if you've experienced that, to where you have this, again, crippling fear and anxiety before doing something that you're so fucking good at. You're good at this thing. You do this thing all the time. This is your art. This is your love. You love doing this thing. You love performing this thing. You love showing up in this way. Like, this is what you meant to do. But you still have a fear and anxiety that comes up, right before you're about to do it, right before you're about to go to that event, right before you're about to get on that stage. And I listen to a lot of interviews. I listen to a lot of famous people speak about their lives and their experiences and stuff like this. And uh, I feel like it's across the board, again, because I think it's connected to just human nature and all of the things that just comes with this experience. Across the board, I hear that does not go away. Like, no matter how many times you've performed your art, no matter how many times or how many people you may have shown up in sold out arenas, right? It's like, no matter how long you've been doing this for, no matter how good you are at it, there is it's kind of like, it's just excitement, right? But it can feel like fear, it can feel like anxiety, it can feel however you are comfortable with naming it. It's a feeling, and it's a very it's kind of like an uncomfortable feeling. And so I attribute this, I call it a fear and anxiety. And sometimes, most times, it comes with this, like, it most times it feels like imposter syndrome. It feels like, damn, I start to question myself. Am I worthy of doing this? Am I worthy of delivering this gift? Am I supposed to be speaking in front of these people? And it's not like verbatim like that, but that's kind of like the feeling that I get. Like, I start second guessing myself, and I'll start like going off like, is this really this? And so even in terms of the relationship, right? It's like, am I getting got? Like, is this nigga that good at what he does? You know what I'm saying? Is this a narc? Is this nigga a professional at this shit? You know what I mean? And we start second guessing ourselves. And a part of that is valid, I feel, because I think it's wise to proceed with caution in any new experience. However, there is something called the fear of the unknown. But in this case that I'm describing, it's not necessarily unknown. Going out to share my art, I've done it a million times. Getting up and speaking in front of a bunch of people, I've done it a million times. Sharing my voice, whatever it is, I've done it a million times. So this feeling I get is just like, oh my God. So the game plan that I was, advising you to have for yourself, what I do in these moments is I walk myself through what is happening, because I realize what is happening. I view this as like, okay, this, at first I name it. This is just fear. This is just anxiety. This is probably imposter syndrome. This is whatever it feels like in that moment. This is, right. This is that. Then I say to myself, hey, it's not your first time. You've done something like this before. And what happened before? I remember this feeling. I remember feeling fearful before the stage. I remember feeling anxiety before I spoke in front of a bunch of people. I remember feeling anxiety or imposter syndrome before sharing my art or sharing my offering online. I remember that. And then what happened? And I walked myself through the past experience. Well, I shared the thing and I got up there and I did my thing and I bodied that performance, or um I sold the shit out of that program, or whatever it is. And then what happened after that? Okay, well, after that, it was received really well. After that, nothing scary actually happened. After that, I actually felt so relieved. After that, there were so many people who came up to me and commended me for my courage, or commended me for helping them through something specific, or told me how my offering or my gift changed their life. So did that, the feeling of fear and anxiety equate to the final result? Was there actually anything to be fearful of? And I asked myself, I say, was there actually anything to be fearful of? Was there actually anything to be anxious about? Was there actually anything to feel doubtful about? No, not really. Not at all, actually. It was a positive outcome. And then, lastly, I lean more into the positive outcome because attention equals creation. So, what we focus on, we are going to create. I don't care what circumstance, what moment of life you're in. Every single time you focus on something, you focus your attention on that thing, that is what you're actively creating in this moment. Whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not, baby, that is what's happening. So we have to constantly discern, and it's a nice dance that we have to do with ourselves. But again, the more that we trust ourselves, the more that we trust and source energy within ourselves, the more we are going to develop this gift and develop this ability to trust that everything is always working out for me, and really actually motherfucking believe that everything is always working out for me. God is always working for me. Everything is aligning for my total well-being, always, in all ways, every single time. Every single time. I know this feels fearful. I know this feels like anxiety. I know this feels like I'm not ready. I know this feels like I'm not worthy. But it's probably just a new experience. Or it's probably linked to the last time I felt this way. And baby, right now, I am okay. I am safe. Affirm yourself. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. I am whole. I am love. I am grateful. All of these, you know, one word affirmations. Give it to yourself in this moment and start to lean more on the outcome. What is the outcome that you want to see? You want to see these people receive you well, right? You want to have a successful relationship with this person, right? You want a successful business partnership with this person. You know, you want it to work out, or do you? Then you got to ask yourself, do I want this to work out? Do I want this to work out? Wait, girl. Do you actually want this shit to work out? Now, if your answer is no, baby, that's another episode. But I know you want it to work out. You want the best possible result. So focus on the best possible outcome every single time. And no, it's not going to be easy, but it's something that gets better and easier with practice. And this is something you have to practice. So this is why it's so important to be self-aware and be aware of each time that you're standing in your own way. Be aware of each time you're sabotaging yourself and your own desires. Be aware. Be aware, so self-aware that you see what you're doing to yourself. You see how you stop in your own bag. You see how you stop in your own happiness. You see how you stand in the way of your own peace. You are allowed to have beautiful, blissful, healthy ass experiences every single time. You are allowed, no matter what you came from, what your family came from, what your bloodline came from, you are allowed prosperous, healthy experiences. You are allowed. Give yourself permission. Give yourself permission. Say, I give myself permission to have and experience the best, healthiest outcome possible because I know that God, source, energy, universe is always working for my total well being. Affirm to yourself. every single time. And again, be aware of when this is happening. And this is how you overcome self-sabotage. Again, I being able to being able to identify it, realizing the importance of naming it so that you give yourself the license to change these self-destructive behaviors, and then applying a game plan or an antidote or an elixir. I don't know why these words are coming, but it's like a magic potion, okay? Give yourself this relief and have a solid game plan, have a solid tool for yourself to tap into so that you can apply it in the moment. And over time, these behaviors will change. You will start to see yourself lift up out of your own way so that you can then experience these blissful, abundant, joyful, peaceful, beautiful ass experiences because you deserve it and it is your birthright. And don't let anybody tell you different, okay? I love you. I love you so much. I love you so, 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 so much. I love us so much. And this is why I do what I do. This is lifting me up. I shared that experience earlier about um working. It just came back to me. Talk about full circle, about my job and like having multiple conversations about modern day slavery and whatnot. And this is the shit that offsets that. This is the shit that balances that out. Coming home and actually working my business, contributing to my passions, being able to pour into my community, being able to speak life into myself and others, and just feeling this surge of love and passionate energy flow through my vessel. It's just so abundant. I feel so abundant, and I know that I'm building. I know that I'm building, and that's one of the. Oh, it's just so beautiful. It's beautiful. It's blissful, and I really am affirming, if not the same, something very, very similar for you. That you are walking in the things that are bringing you joy, that you are walking in the things that you feel passionate about, that you are walking in the things that are uplifting your spirit, that you are walking in the things that are healthy for your mind, your body, your soul, your financial health, that you are walking in the things that make you feel fulfilled. You deserve to be whole and fulfilled. You deserve to have wonderful experiences. And I'm going to keep saying it. Sometimes I'll be saying the same words, but you know what? I feel it every single time, and I hope you do too. Peace, love, and abundance of all things beautiful, blissful, peaceful, abundant, and prosperous. You are so deserving. You are so worthy. I love you. If no one else has told you today, you are so loved, you are worthy, and you are divinely guided and protected. I will see and speak to you in the next episode. Peace.